I'm ready and we're recording.
Okay. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. If we could have the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the
of the
United
United
States
States
of
of America
America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty for all.
justice for all. Roll call, please.
Larry Armstrong,
Here.
Sean Douglas,
Here.
Michael Howry,
Here.
Michelle Hayes, Gene Sensi.
Here.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move. I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Larry Armstrong,
Yes.
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howry,
Yes.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Vote is 4-0.
All right, we'll now open the first public participation portion for the evening. This is on agenda items only. Anyone wishing to address the board about an agenda item may do so. You would state your name and address for the board. And I think if you would like to address the board, if you could give the waving symbol here so the treasurer can unmute.
So we have 4 people who don't have video. So in order for them to do that, they have to start the video.
Just giving it a little extra time here because I think this is the first time we've had so many folks with their cameras disabled. So I just want to give them a chance to address the board if they would like to do so.
Just let me know if you prefer to go to the unmute all in case somebody wants to say something. But
We could try that if you think that's best.
you probably should.
Okay.
Okay, I believe I've gotten to everybody who is muted to see if they want to unmute. So they have the opportunity to say something, I guess, if they so choose.
Okay. Looks like some of those folks probably have opted themselves to mute themselves, even though you've unmuted them. Is that right?
Yeah, so I'm going to go back. When we close public participation, I'm going to go back to the mute all and unmute the board administration again.
All right. Well, we'll go last call on the first public participation. In case there's anyone who'd like to give it a try here. Like to say something? All right, then. Seeing none.
Give me 1 sec.
Okay.
Everybody on the board should be able to unmute themselves. Should be good to go.
Okay. So we are on to student transportation services.
Well, do you have board member reports? She didn't put anything on there. I didn't know if anybody had.
Yeah, I don't see that on the agenda, but why don't we do that first? Do we have any board members wishing to give a report?
Yes, I'd like to say something right now. I'm just going to announce that as of the end of this meeting, I'm going to be resigning my position on the school board. It's been an honor, a privilege over the last 6 years to serve with all the past and current board members. Same goes for all our administrators, Angela, Dave, Mike. You've all done a tremendous job. It makes our job somewhat easy when we ask you to do something and you make it look easy. Thanks to all the staff members, all the teachers. They're the ones in the classroom doing it every day. And, that's why we serve. We serve to provide the best we can for our students. And I wish you the best going forward to the future. There's a lot of challenges lying ahead. And I wish I could stick around to help guide through those challenges, but I'm sure that you can find a capable replacement, and good luck and the best to you all.
Larry, how many years you've served?
It's been over 6. Not exactly sure how many, but over 6.
Thank you. Appreciate it. As I've said before, you bring some concerns on issues that aren't my concerns, and so it's a nice balance, and I appreciate your insights and all your contributions. You love conference, and you always brought something back. You always brought something back, so thank you for that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Larry. We really appreciate all the years of service that you've given to the board. And, we all know this isn't always a job where there's a whole lot of thank yous, but I'll say thank you for all of those years. And Pastor Mike is right. You've really brought a lot to the board over the years and different perspectives. When you look at our current board makeup, from a pastor to somebody in HR, United Way, a firefighter, and Michelle, aspiring nurse. It's just so many different backgrounds that we come from, but especially on our safety side, I think you've been able to really contribute there. With some of our discussions, especially when we had them over the last couple of years, unfortunately, with those national incidents that occurred where we were talking about those things. And even, with, fire chief and bleed bags and all those different things that we've had at different points. So really appreciate all of your service.
Thank you.
Thank you, Larry, for your service. As I shared with you earlier today, I have always appreciated the honest conversations that you and I have had together, and you will be missed.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that, Angela.
Yeah, thank you very much, Larry. I've appreciated your time on the board. And I am just looking to see if we have to accept a resignation. I don't know.
I can send you an email out, for effective tomorrow or however it has to work.
If you could, that would be great.
Okay.
Just so we have something. And then I will, once a replacement's named, I will inform the Board of Elections. Yeah, I don't know whether we have to do a formal acceptance
I
of
don't know if
resignation.
we have or not.
I was looking back to see when Jay Fabian resigned. I don't see where we did accept his resignation. So, if we don't accept it, you'll stay?
We're going to put you back to work again in about 3 minutes here. So. All right. Are there any other board members wishing to give a report tonight? All right. So I guess we'll move on to student transportation services.
Angela, you're muted. Hold on. Now try again. There you go.
Yeah, I had a disruption, so I muted myself for a second and didn't want to do that. So yes, we have our contract with the Community Bus Service on the agenda this evening, and we're asking you to enter into a 1-year agreement for a period beginning July 1st, 2020 at an annual cost of $1,578,496.08.
I'll move.
A second.
Any discussion?
Angela, what's built in this contract for flexibility should any number of changes happen?
We have a reopener to reopen the conversation with CBS like we did in the spring to ensure that we can get additional savings. This contract is $75,000 less than what we paid for transportation services last year. There were no fee increases on field trips or any of the other specialized routes we may have to run. It was, you know, Mike and I tag teamed, good cop, bad cop. And so we were able to receive these savings and as well as have an opener to have additional savings should we have to shut down and not have transportation for a period of time.
Not to play the what if game too much here, but what if they mandate that only so many students can be on a bus? We only have so many buses, and how would we get more buses or change routes or?
Well, that's why I didn't put a route limit. There is no route limit for the cost of this contract. So, so they will work with us.
You know, and we'll work with them too. If for some reason they have to bring in buses or more drivers to cover whatever limitations we have in transportation, I don't think we'd expect them to do that at the same price because we didn't expect them to do no service when we shut down at the same price. So it could go both ways, but there's leeway in changing routes from year to year that never increases our fee. Thank you, Angela, because, you know, midday yesterday, I didn't think we were going to get anything done. There was a lot of stuff in their initial proposal that, to say I was the bad cop is putting it mildly. We also put in some additional items that weren't in prior year contracts. One is if one of our mechanics, well, we only have one right now, but if we replace the one that left in February, if that person has to drive, we have an hourly rate that we can charge him for his service. It's basically his time at overtime plus the 16% for SERS and workers' comp and Medicare. We also have in writing that they will reimburse us the $1,500 per month for the rental space that we have. They have been doing that, but as long as we were putting a new agreement together, we thought it was best to memorialize that inside the contract. So
we did, yeah. We cleaned up a lot of language that was old that had just rolled.
Yeah. So it's a really good contract for us. It saves us $75,000 and continues some of the stuff, some of the payments, reimbursements that we're getting from them now, puts it in the contract. So there's no question that they will continue participating in the rental payments for that bus garage.
Question? I would like to know who's ultimately responsible for the additional training on the COVID. Is that CBS or is that our administration or somebody designated by the administration?
We will work together because there's certain cleaning protocols that we're going to have to do once we understand what that guidance is. I'll talk a little bit more about it before I go into my recommendations tonight of some things that Dave and I met with a group today, so that we have some benefit that's not going to cost us anything, but will get us a lot of support in developing training protocols. So we will, anything on the student side that we need to provide to transport kids, that is our responsibility. So if we need to purchase masks, depending upon how many children we can put in a seat, then we're going to have to look at that as a cost. We will negotiate with CBS certain items of, for their costs in sanitizing and those types of protocols. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Generally, for most things, they have their own set of training that happens. And when we have things that are in addition to what they're already doing, we'll work with them to make sure that they have our, the things that are specific to Madison.
Great.
All right, any additional discussion? Roll call?
John Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howry,
Yes.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Larry Armstrong.
Yes.
Vote is 4-0.
All right, the next item on the agenda is I'll be looking for a motion to amend the employment contract between the superintendent and the Board of Education. We've had this contract in place for since 2018. Contract calls for a specific number of vacation days that the superintendent can utilize each year. This particular year is obviously a year like none other. And our superintendent has simply not been able to take some of those vacation days with the constant barrage of updates and things that she's needed to handle. So this motion would be to allow us to pay out some of those vacation days that she was unable to take. And then we get back to normal, hopefully, knock on wood over here for next year. If we needed to do something different next year, something other than normal, we could always do that next year, but this is just for this 1 year. Given what we've experienced and the amount of attention required for the district.
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Michael Howry,
Yes.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Larry Armstrong,
Yes.
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Vote is 4-0.
All right, recommendations of the superintendent.
Well, first, Mike, did you have any reports you wanted to give tonight?
Just two things. One, I had a conversation yesterday with both the accountants that prepare the financial statements and the auditors who work for the Auditor of State. They will be starting the audit on July 27th. We just don't know what it's going to look like yet. Auditors have been assigned to homes since mid-March, and talking to my son, they've been told at least through September they're going to be working from home. So a lot of the stuff we can scan and email to them. There may be a need for the person to come into the office, but he is separate from where anybody else might be working. So we're going to try and minimize that. They want to minimize it, so everything should work out there. And second, I've just got to thank my staff. We went to the state software rewrite November 1st, and this is the first fiscal year end we closed, and I think we closed at 3 o'clock today. So not only was it quicker than I thought, everything balanced the first time through. So once we got through all the additional reports that you have to do at year end, we were able to close and move on to July. So as we say today, it's now July. So I just want to thank them because they worked hard from home to make all this happen. That's all I have. I don't have anything on the agenda.
And before I go into recommendations, I have a few items that I wanted to talk about. And the first is and we'll do a moment of silence at our regular meeting in July. But it's with sad news that I share that Mary Jane Baldwin passed away last week. She is the wife of former board member Stephen Baldwin, and she was a longtime Madison language arts teacher. Just a vibrant, passionate teacher, just loved life, loved teaching and learning, loved talking about teaching and learning, and she will be missed. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember her.
Yep, good lady. So moving into some good news though, MBD Medical, and it's a company we've worked with over the last year, is going to partner with us to develop a series of training protocols and videos related to COVID-19. Pat, Dave, and I had a wonderful conversation with one of the officers in the company regarding just various topics related to cleaning buildings and different sanitizing techniques and equipment. And He feels that we would be a good fit to partner to develop these protocols together. It will not cost the district anything. They will come in and work with our staff to develop these protocols. And we're going to meet again with the governor after the governor's guidance is released tomorrow. So we're going to meet again next week.
How did we
So-
come in contact with them, Angela?
We came in contact with them because we had a special cleaning situation that we had to deal with last year.
Yeah, okay.
And they came in and helped us. And when COVID first came about, we reached out to them about the different chemicals and what to do. And so we've been in touch with them throughout this process. And he reached out last week to me and said, I'd like to set up a meeting with you guys about what you're going to do about cleaning and sanitizing your buildings and those types of things. So he's been a wonderful resource, and he has a really good relationship with Pat Smith. So we thought that was a win-win. Next, I'm going to just sort of make a statement regarding next year, just a little bit. And I'm going to read it because I want to be clear that I cover everything that I have. We know that the community is anxious about what next school year is going to bring, and we'll be sending a parent update out on Monday once we have the opportunity to review the guidance. As I shared last week, we're going to be looking at two key options: remote learning, which is a school within a school model, and traditional school to the best of our abilities as we know it. What we need to see is what the guidance is regarding transportation, as well as social distancing and masks. We know from survey data that there are families that will want as close to traditional model as possible. We also know there are families that want a remote option. Our team is looking at how that's going to work at all levels. The first communication to families will go out on Monday with general information about the two options. The next update will go out the following Monday, the week of July 13th, as we will outline what the expectations will be in both of those models and ask families to make a choice so that we can properly schedule students. Before I share with families what those expectations and more direct guidance will be, I will share that with the board. Our key thing in this is we're working hard to ensure the safety of all concerned and are working everything through the local health department to ensure we're making the right decisions based on our knowledge of the virus at this time. And as you can see, you know, daily, it's changing every day. You know, that we need to, we're going to continually be reacting to changes in this virus until we get a vaccine. So we could start school as normal, and at some point, if things spike, we may have to go to total remote again. But we will have plans in place as to what that will look like, and it will be drastically different than what it was in the spring. Any questions, thoughts, comments from the board?
Looks like we're waiting for the governor again.
Yeah, it's been, you know, I was hoping tonight we would have more to digest and talk about, but, you know, as I've said all along, until I figure out how I'm getting the students to school, I can't really formulate solid plans, because getting them in the door is the key step. And while we have lots of draft ideas and the administrators met on Monday, you know, we really want to see that transportation guidance, which will then allow us to really cement those plans. And come next week, we're going to be moving at a rapid fire pace, but it'll be a good pace because we've got a good team with lots of good ideas and we'll put a lot of input in. Dave, do you have anything to add?
No, I think you covered it.
Are you ready for my recommendations then?
We are.
All right, under the resignation portion, we're asking you to accept the following resignation. Caitlin Sanders, preschool teacher, effective at the end of the 2019-2020 contract year, and to approve a monthly athletic complex grounds manager supplemental for Pat Smith.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Larry Armstrong,
Yes.
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howry,
Yes.
vote is 4-0.
The next item on the agenda is a discussion and public hearing of proposed changes to the 2020-21 school year calendar, only to be enacted to meet the demands of COVID-19. Otherwise, the board approved adopted calendar from April 7th, 2020 board meeting would stand. So I'm going to give you a little background on what we're thinking, and then public is allowed to weigh in on this part of the meeting. We want to give notice due to the complications surrounding COVID-19 that we may change our calendar by up to 2 weeks. We're hoping to have a better idea of the guidance from the governor's office, which was to be announced yesterday and was delayed to tomorrow. We have to put this out now as this action is legally necessary to have a 30-day notice. Our intent is to start school in August as scheduled, but this action gives us the flexibility to make changes as need be. And the latest I would bring a start date of school is September 1st. Menor is looking at a September 1st state. I think there's only a couple now that are going to go to after Labor Day. Painesville City is doing August 25th. Riverside has always been August 25th. Right now, Perry's holding to their August 20th date. And we have an August 18th start date, but any modification I would bring would be allow for a couple professional development days at the start of the school year to help with the blended learning and some of the pieces that we need to enact in our plan. So that's where we're at right now.
Looks like we need a motion then.
Oh, I'm sorry. So move.
I think it's a
It's
discussion.
just a discussion, but it does say public hearing, so if the public has the opportunity to weigh in, I'm going to have to unmute all again and do that process.
All right, well, let's do that then.
Okay. We shall do this again. I'm not happy that Zoom got rid of the unmute all button for me.
You have to do them all individually, Mike?
Yes.
Oh, that's a pain.
I think I've got everybody. Okay.
Hi, this is Leah Turner. Hi, everybody.
Leah.
From Madison. And I guess I just want to say that on behalf of teachers, many of the teachers that I've talked to, having extra time for professional development would be something that we really would support. And so I know that there's so many things that are going to be figured out in, the upcoming weeks and months, but just to tell you, I think that a lot of teachers would appreciate extra time to prepare.
That is definitely in our plans. Because we're all, as I've shared with you today, we're all sort of learning this as we go, and waiting on that guidance, as all of us have been waiting for all summer, has I shared with the staff in my update. I'm a little anxious myself. So
And
Thank you.
Vicki has raised her hand, and I've asked her to unmute if she wants. There she is.
Hi, everyone. Vicki Nadmath. I also want to just echo what Leah said. I think it's a fabulous idea to have extra time for teachers to have professional development. And I also agree that most teachers would support that.
Is there any certain areas of professional development that you're most concerned with?
Honestly, I think that a lot of us in the elementary school would be concerned with reading curriculum in regards to if we moved online. A lot of us have, or all of us at both elementaries have completed the letters training. And I know many of us have talked about the need for a reading curriculum in elementary school.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to comment on the school calendar? All right, seeing none. Guess we don't need a motion or second. Mike corrected me. That's just a first reading for public hearing. So we would adopt that at a later time if need be.
That's correct.
Do you need more time to remute people, or can we
Well,
move on to the consent calendar?
We don't have anything, as far as I can see, to be voted on the consent calendar.
Right.
So we would then move into public participation, where again, I'm going to have to ask everybody to unmute themselves and then mute themselves if they don't want, because they don't have the ability to unmute themselves once they've muted. And I don't want somebody not to have the chance to talk at public participation who chose not to talk at the
Sure.
about the calendar.
So we'll now open the second public participation portion for the evening on any item. Anyone wishing to address the board, just state your name and address, and you can address us on anything you'd like to. Hi, Mark.
Hello, Mark Winter. Do you need my like my home address?
Sure, whatever you want to give us.
Okay, well, Madison, Ohio, I guess. First of all, I'm grateful to our superintendent and our administration and our school board. This has been a very difficult time. The end of last school year, nobody could have imagined. And I'm grateful that you've brought us through it. I'm also grateful that you're asking the questions. The survey was a nice thing to be able to hear from the community. I hope enough participated to give you some insight and some direction. And I also echo your frustration waiting for the governor's guidance. It's really difficult to make decisions that may be overturned at a 2 o'clock meeting. You know what I mean? So my greatest concerns right now, is for the band families. Obviously, there's no possible way you could give us answers on that, and I'm not asking you for that. But I will tell you that you've got a extremely dedicated group of families in the Madison band community that are waiting with bated breath for Wine with DeWine tomorrow in hopes that there would be some sort of comment at all about whether or not football games can happen, if they happen, whether there will be fans in attendance, whether or not there will be a need or an opportunity for a marching band. I think everyone's hoping there is, but I think it's going to be difficult to do it. So I have no questions. My only comment is thank you for dealing with the incredibly difficult decisions that have to be made. And by all means, if there's something that is needed from us as community members, let us know, because I think you'll find enough grumpy people who will ignore you, but enough of us who really want to be part of the solution who will jump in if there's a need that we can handle. So thank you again for all you're doing.
Rest assured, there are grumpy people who tell us things too. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Okay, Mike, you don't have anybody with a virtual hand up or anything like that?
No, I don't believe we do.
All right, well, we'll now close the second public participation portion then. Do we have a need for executive session?
No?
Do not, but maybe we need to have a quick conversation about the process to replace Larry, if you'd like.
Do you want to give some information?
Yeah, so real quick, the old rules used to be that you had to replace a resigning board member not earlier than 10 days from the resignation, not later than 30 days, and at the next regular scheduled meeting, which causes concern, certainly in this time. I don't know who sent out the memo that extended the timeline, but they extended the end date to 60 days, and they also eliminated the language of at the next regular meeting. So we can keep our meeting schedule as we have it and then add in special meetings for interviews of board members. I think Angela and I will talk about how you've posted for board members before and try and get the word out. And if anybody knows of somebody who's interested, there should be a application process.
How have we done that before? I know we've certainly put it on the school web page. We do a press release to the News Herald.
Mhm.
We've done in the past.
Yes, and we probably could use our good news page and community update.
Not that it's good news, but
Right.
But you know, just to get the word out.
Right. So hopefully we can use all those different social media outlets, the press release, the website, to get the information out that anyone wishing to apply can submit their resume. They usually submit that to you, Angela, right?
To Susan, yep.
And then, you know, I think all the board members should receive a copy of all the resumes that come in. So those can just be forwarded to all board members so that they can review them. And then we'll go from there. I know we'll probably have to schedule some meetings where we'll go over the resumes, obviously, and make some decisions. But at least the first step is, if we sooner rather than later, getting that information out to the public that we're going to have an opening and that folks can apply. Anyone else have any thoughts about how to do that? Okay. So if we don't have anything else, I guess we can have a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Larry Armstrong,
No,
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howery,
Yes.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
The vote is 3-1.